Captain America, Civil War. I figured since I love this movie so much, I'd dress up, make my own homemade shield, and celebrate probably one of the biggest movies of the year is Captain America, Civil War. This is your review, your spoiler review of this movie. Enjoy. Oh, by the way, I can do this all day.
Captain, you've operated with unlimited power and no supervision. That's something the world can no longer tolerate.
What do we do?
We fight.
Even before I saw those movies, I don't think I've ever quite seen a marketing campaign for a movie like this. Okay, where Batman versus Superman failed and showed you everything that was going to happen within the fight between Batman and Superman. You kind of already knew, right? Well, this movie, I'm happy to say, it kind of gave us little teasers here and there what it was going to be like, but it really didn't show us anything. So by the time I watched Captain America Civil War, I was wowed by it, right? But I didn't know what was going to happen, and that's what I really like about the marketing campaign of this whole movie, really. From the red carpet, from all the TV spots, it was pure genius. Captain America Civil War focuses again on the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, played by Sebastian Stan. Sebastian Stan's character on here, I really think the Winter Soldier is a very tortured character. He's very mysterious. He doesn't really know who he is. He just was made to kill. The whole movie centered around him, and the movie kind of builds up. It had several movies before it to build up the whole universe. The whole Marvel cinematic universe that we have now, that we love, that we cherish, because we're just a bunch of big children. And the Avengers need to be checked on this movie, and there was a lot of deaths in New York City, in Manhattan, in the country on Avengers Age of Ultron, when the Incredible Hulk was crashing into buildings. He killed people. And one particular scene, we see Crossbones. Crossbones on this movie, played by Frank Grillo. Frank Grillo, he came on the Winter Soldier before he was Crossbones. You kind of know him already a little bit. And right now, in this particular scene, he's already deformed, so he's wearing the villainous persona of Crossbones, who I knew right away when I seen this. If you don't know your Marvel, you're gonna be confused. But those of you that are new, Crossbones is a classic Captain America supervillain, and I loved it. I mean, even though he was on this movie for a couple seconds. Okay, I'm kind of twisting it there a little bit, pushing it, but yeah, it felt like he was just for a couple seconds. He has dynamite attached to him, and he's about to blow up right next to Cap, Chris Evans, and the Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen, who once again gives a stellar performance of the Scarlet Witch, just like that. And she delivers on a lot of the emotional, she's distraught because she uses her magic and sends Crossbones up to a building to keep from killing Captain America, who's right next to her. So he blows up in a building, but ends up killing innocent bystanders in Lagos, Nigeria. So the government, they need to check the Avengers. The Avengers are operating without any kind of, like, I thought they were actually because of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury. I guess they forgot that. By the way, Nick Fury's not on this movie. Samuel L. Jackson is not. Samuel L. Jackson in all this movie. And I'm telling you why. What happened? Why was he included in this movie? I guess they didn't pay him enough or something, but he just kind of got lost in the shuffle. Okay, each movie has gotten better than the first. Okay, Captain America, the first Avenger, that movie was alright. I liked it, I enjoyed it still. But Captain America Winter Soldier kind of pushed a real scenario. It was a whole lot better. And we were just astonished by the way it's kind of like a Mission Impossible, Jason Bourne, the Bourne Identity kind of scenario going, and it made you believe that Captain America could be a real life hero in our society, right? So now we have this movie. Okay, the tensions are boiling between the two sides, between Tony Stark, between Captain America. So the tension has been boiling since the very beginning. I don't know if you guys remember the original Avengers movie where Tony Stark and Captain America almost got into a fight there, but of course they had to go save the day. So it kind of builds up. This is where Marvel succeeded in doing a bunch of standalone films right before we get to this movie, this Marvel Phase 2 film, that they kind of set up a universe for us. It was kind of not like Batman and Superman where it just kind of crammed it all in an almost 3-hour movie and kind of ruined the whole plot of the film. This movie, tensions boil. Everybody's angry. Everybody's worried. Everybody's kind of like they don't know what to do. They don't know what side they want to be on. But eventually they choose a side. Choose a side. So okay, Paul Bettany here as Vision. He was really good, and he took center stage in some of this movie, and with Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen, and there was kind of almost like a romantic element, because in Marvel Comics there is a romantic element going on between the two characters of Vision and the Scarlet Witch, but it doesn't really get explored on this movie. And Emily Van Camp playing Kate, she gets her chance to shine. Don't really know a whole lot about her character, really, honestly. You don't really get to see Don Cheadle do what he does in other movies, okay? And then we got William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross. Thunderbolt Ross. Hulk Unit. Die. He's on this movie. William Hurt. He's an old pro. He does a great job. He's kind of like almost like the liaison, or he's the Secretary of State. He's trying to round up all the Avengers and put it behind bars, because according to him, that's what that's what needs to be done. Declare martial law on the Avengers. So that's kind of what happens and then of course we get introduced to the Black Panther, played by Chad Osman. Chad Bosman playing T'Challa, the King of Wakanda. His father gets killed on this movie. And it's kind of like a story arc for the Black Panther. So we're going to see a Black Panther standalone film right before we see Avengers Infinity War Part 1. Part 1, okay, 2018. So about next year we should be seeing a Black Panther film. And I got to say, Black Panther on this movie, he doesn't mess around. His father gets killed. His father is assassinated. A bomb explodes and it kills his father, right? The rightful ruler, the King of Wakanda. So he's angry. He wants to get the killer. He believes that Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, is the killer of that assassinated his father. So he's going to do whatever he has to do to get him and kill him. So that's kind of like I said, this whole movie's really focused a lot around the Winter Soldier, and then we get to see as well such a memorable performance. I haven't seen a really convincing performance of portrayal of Spider-Man since Tobey Maguire, really, honestly, because Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, is
On the roof!
Hey everyone.
he comes out as kind of like a much goofier version of Tobey Maguire. He's just like, dude, your arm's built. That's cool. You know, he's kind of like he's 18. What is he? A 18, 19-year-old kid, and he basically bursts on the scene. He doesn't have a whole lot of experience in the superhero bit thing. He's kind of, and I'm gonna go to his story right now. Tony Stark goes to Queens, New York. He figures out, okay, that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So he goes to visit him, his Aunt May's house, of course. And he tells him, I know who you are, you know. And then he says, but you might want to use an upgrade a little bit because this onesie that he's using. So he's kind of like, he's only been a superhero for, let's say, about a couple of weeks or maybe about a month up to this point in the film. Because we all know there's already been 4 attempts at Spider-Man before. So Tom Holland delivers definitely the most convincing, and the costume, he gets an upgrade for Tony Stark apparently on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Spider-Man we're gonna get has gotten a upgrade. I don't know if that's entirely true in the comic books. I think it is though, but I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not entirely sure on that one. But so Tom Holland, he goes into a situation, you know, where they end up fighting the airport. I'm gonna get to that soon, okay? And a lot of the other characters really, the ones that really shine in this movie that you really pay attention to more is probably really just Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Elizabeth Olsen. Anthony Mackie kind of gets a little bit of screen time here and there, and then Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, of course. I'm about to get to him right now. He gets some one-liners here and there. And I really think they succeeded in this movie. Okay, now Captain America, Chris Evans, he does probably one of the performances of his career, in my opinion, as a reviewer on YouTube, as well as Robert Downey Jr. Scarlett Johansson really does. She's really the female catalyst on this whole movie because she's Scarlett Johansson. I mean, need I say more? Hello. So Black Widow, Iron Man, you know, and Captain America, they're having a war of words in here. Tensions are building. It's not like they just get into a fight. You know, they just go to, oh, okay, they don't just start fighting for no reason. So there's kind of like, it doesn't, okay, they have a fight at the airport, and there's a lot of great, what I really want to talk about is the Ant-Man scene. Okay, the Ant-Man scene, Ant-Man becomes a giant. And if you don't know your Marvel, you don't know that Henry Pym, Dr. Pym, is the original of the Ant-Man serum and Giant Man. Giant Man is a character, aka Goliath, as he's known later in some of the comics that I grew up watching, is able to become a giant at will, any size that he wants. And that's what we saw. And when I saw that part, I was like, oh my God, that was so awesome. It just kind of came unexpectedly, and I had no idea what was going on, okay? And he's having a lot of these really hilarious scenes as he's about maybe 3 inches, 2 inches tall, going on top of, like what it looks, you know, the guns, you know, some of the guns they're using, and has a really amusing battle with Black Widow. And, you know, so Ant-Man was really one of the biggest surprises of this movie, including the Black Panther and the Scarlet Witch, of course. And I really thought not everybody got to shine, but everybody had their little, in the fight scene, they got their little moment to really. And okay, now to the part. Did anybody die on this movie? You guys probably already seen this movie. You know that nobody died on this movie. There was spoilers going around the internet and YouTube that one of the heroes was going to die in this movie, and that's not true, by the way. James Rhodes actually gets paralyzed on this movie, so apparently the only way he's going to be able to walk when he dons the War Machine armor that he used in the first couple of movies that he came on. So that kind of clues you in that he's paralyzed. He gets shot down by by mistake, of course, and now he's going to be paralyzed. So Vision, by the way, has one of what they call the Infinity Gems, the Infinity Stones on his head. So he's going to be a target in the next couple movies. Okay, so I will get to that in a couple minutes here, and I just want to make sure I cover everything. So you guys could probably eat me for breakfast if I didn't cover everything. On my spoiler review of Captain America: Civil War. And okay, now we get to the part where Tony Stark and Captain America actually are gonna have their one-on-one confrontation. Of course, it doesn't end up that way, but basically, the Winter Soldier. The movie starts off with the Winter Soldier. It goes back to the beginning of the movie, The Winter Soldier, Captain America, and he's basically Hydra caused him to do all these evil assassinations or whatever you want to call it. He's an assassin, willingly an assassin. So he's not really the threat in this movie. He's more like the solution in this movie of everything. Of why? Okay, there's one person on this movie that I need to talk about. Of course, I haven't talked about yet because I was getting to him, and I'm talking about Baron Zemo on this movie. Baron Zemo is a Marvel classic Captain America villain that not a lot of people know, that are not very. He's played by Daniel Baru, and he seems irrelevant in the beginning, but if you really know who Baron Zemo is actually an early Captain America villain, and you'll see on this video I got a picture of the actual costume from the 1940s, so you'll be like, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's true, oh yeah, I remember him, yeah. So you'll kind of clues you in. So Baron Zemo is a villain on this movie. He's not just some slacker villain. It's kind of he's pulling the strings for all this to take place. He wants to somehow get the Avengers to kill each other and cause some kind of conflict where they have to kill each other. So that's his whole agenda on this entire movie, to get them to kill each other. He gets shown this old video of Tony Stark gets shown this old video of his parents, the death of his parents, including his dad, and the Winter Soldier Bucky Barnes kills his parents. I mean, that's the way it looks on the video. They kind of, how they when you see the setup for it, and you're like, oh, okay, did he really actually kill him? So Tony Stark thinks that Bucky killed his parents, so he's out for blood. He's not out, he's not just gonna beat him up. He wants to kill him. So he tracks down the Winter Soldier, of course, and they end up fighting him and Captain America. And of course, the whole reason that this whole story really is because of the Winter Soldier, because friendship. Bucky has been a friend of Steve Rogers for a very long time, of course. So that's the reason behind all of this. He's trying to protect his friend. He believes his friend is innocent, and basically he doesn't find out until the very end that Bucky didn't actually kill Tony Stark's parents, but apparently that's what the Black Panther thought too, also, that he killed his father, and that wasn't true either, because it was all a setup by Baron Zemo, who planted the bombs, who caused everything. Hydra was pulling the strings behind the Winter Soldier for killing his parents. So technically he does, but he does it against his own will, of course. I mean, that's what they want us to think. Okay, let's just say you're Iron Man, and the Winter Soldier killed your parents, how would you feel like, really, right? That really, the question is, how would you feel like? Would you want to kill him? Oh, hell yeah, you would. I would. So basically, that's the reason, the whole reason for the biggest superpowered beatdown brawl of all time. I mean, there have been many superhero beatdown brawls, and I'm going to talk about them in a couple more minutes here. But basically, Captain America and the Winter Soldier and Iron Man have their brawl, and Captain America is able to help his friend, but Iron Man basically he tears his mechanical arm, like beats down Bucky. He's like, you know, he's like, stay down. You know, he's basically telling him, stay down. And I came into this, and even though not a lot of you in YouTube don't know me well yet, okay? But I came into this, whose side was I on, okay? I was Team Captain America from the very get-go of all this. I was Team Captain America because I love Iron Man. I think he's an awesome character, but I think he's kind of a jerk. He's a little bit of a douchebag, and I think he needed to get taught a lesson. He got humbled on this movie, I'll tell you that much, because Captain America can kill. He puts his shield right next to where Tony Stark has his little sink kitchen looking thing. I'm just kidding. The thing that's holding his heart together, okay? That little thing on his chest, and he's able to kill him if he wanted to. You know, he could have killed him. He might have killed him if he wanted to. You know, he was thinking about it, but he was like, nah, because he's a good guy. Steve Rogers has a set of values. He's not this mindless idiot who doesn't think out any situations that he's in. Okay, so he decides, okay, I'm gonna let him live. He lets Tony Stark live. Basically, Iron Man was toast. Okay, he could have been destroyed right there and then, but he didn't do it. And okay, the last couple spoilers on this movie is basically it's like a story arc. It's a setup. You see the Winter Soldier, he gets put on ice again, and of course Spider-Man, and it shows like a little hologram, and it says Spider-Man will be back. Basically, they're talking about that Spider-Man is going to be back on his own standalone film. He's going to be back in the Infinity War as well, Avengers Infinity War. Okay, I want to get that to talk about that a little bit on this, but I don't want to give a whole lot of spoilers away about what the Infinity War, because I'd rather do a whole standalone video about the Avengers Infinity War 1 and 2. So, okay, Thanos, the Titan. He's basically he has the Infinity Gems. These 4 gems, and he's gonna be one of the main reasons that there's gonna be a huge superpowered beatdown on the next couple of movies, and that's all I'm really going to tell you guys, all right? Because I want to tell you the whole thing, and I will tell you in a later video, because I want to kind of set you guys up, give you guys a little story, a backstory to set up the next couple of movies. I'm basically giving away spoilers, and those of you that already know what the Infinity Gauntlet is, you guys will know it. I mean, you guys don't need to be told that. Okay, so basically, Captain America Civil War, there's a lot of action on this movie, there's a lot of humor on this movie, there's a lot of great performances on this movie, there's great acting on this movie, this movie is basically probably the greatest superhero movie I've seen to date, because we haven't seen Avengers Infinity War Part 1. Okay, now I want to talk about a little bit about, before I end this video, about the original superpowered beatdown. The original superpowered beatdown was on the original 1980 movie Superman 2. If you guys remember, Zod, Non, and Ursa battled Superman high above Manhattan, New York, and that was the first time we actually saw superpowered beatdown on screen. It was just like a prelude to that, and then we got, of course, later on we got X-Men, and then of course Avengers came and gave us like the you know, kind of like a childhood dream come true. So basically, I want to tell you where it all came from, how it all started. And Superman 2 was the original film where it was done. It wasn't, you know, I mean, it was 1980. I mean, just the astonishing special effects they used on that movie was just astonishing, you know, to begin with, for the even for that time, okay? And I'm happy to say that Captain America: Civil War is the greatest superhero movie to date, because I believe we're going to be treated to something even more better than that. If that's even possible to believe, but yeah, we are definitely going to be treated that. Okay. If I covered everything, I hope I did. Anyways, all right, you guys can decapitate me or on the comments below. Okay. If you like what you see here and you want to keep watching more of these videos, I will definitely keep doing what I do best. I make a fool out of my channel sometimes. I do a couple off-the-wall tricks here and there, and then I use some special effects here and there. But I do it for you guys. All right. Subscribe to this channel, the Film View Network, and check out my other channel, Lewis Balance's Cinema Reviews. It's still kind of down. I'll be up in about 2 more months, and I should be back making a fool out of myself for you guys. Entertaining you guys, okay? I'm doing it for you guys, all right? Subscribe to this blog, support this blog, support the Lewis Balance Cinema Reviews, support the Film View Network, and I'm definitely gonna, like I said, I'm definitely gonna do my best to try to make this as entertaining and watchable as possible. All right, okay, you guys. I will see you guys real soon.